And now we have completed till here yesterday, that is benefits of using the AI in the cyber security. We are now just going to the next topic of our discussion, that is what artificial intelligence and machine learning can do for the cyber security. So when I speak about artificial intelligence and the cyber security, they have nearly been touted as revolutionary and much closer than we might think. Okay, so what is that is like, whenever I say this is only a partial truth, but that must be approached with and reversed expectations over with everyone. So the reality is that we may be faced with relatively gradual improvements for the future to come. Okay, even though they are saying artificial intelligence and security, cyber security, it's been more used outside, but it like in future only there is more kind of an option over there. So in perspective, what may seem gradual, so the cybersecurity and AI growth was just a gradual, what may seem very gradual when compared to the fully autonomous future is actually still leaps beyond what we have been capable of in the past. So as we explore the possible implications with the security in the machine learning and artificial intelligence, it is very important to frame the current pain points in the cyber security. Okay, so there are like many processes and many aspects we have long accepted as a normal that can be treated under the umbrella of the AI technologies. So what are those? The first one is the human error in configuration. So human error is a significant part of cybersecurity weakness, right? Human error, like everybody does make mistake, like everybody, like especially humans. Like we all are not, everyone are not perfect. For example, the proper system configuration can be incredibly difficult to manage. There is a proper system configuration. So even with the large IT teams engaging in the setup, I cannot manage the system configuration. It is very difficult. So in the course of constant innovation, computer security has become more layered than ever nowadays, right? So responsive tools could help the teams find and mitigate the issues that appear as a network systems, like they are replaced, they are modified, and they keep on updating. Okay, they keep on updating. And then the next thing comes is the human efficiency with repeated activities. So what is this human efficiency with repeated activities? That is nothing but human efficiency is an another pain point with the cybersecurity industry, where no manual process is perfectly repeatable every time, right? Every time a manual process cannot be repeatable. So especially in the dynamic environment in which we are living, the individual setup of an organization's many endpoint missions is among the most time consuming task, right? And even after initial setup, the IT teams find themselves revisiting the same missions later on for correcting the misconfigurations or outdated setups that can be patched in the remote updates nowadays. So the furthermore, when the employees are tasked with responses to threats, what happens is the scope of said threat can rapidly shift. So when the human focus may slowed by the unexpected challenges which is outside there, a system-based AI and the machine learning can move with minimal delay. Okay, that is where the artificial intelligence and the machine learning is doing for us. And then the next one is alert fatigue. So what is a threat alert fatigue? It gives the organization another weakness if not handled with care. Okay, threat alert. So if it is not handled with care, so the attack surfaces are increasing as the aforementioned layers of security. We have told that the security configuration, because of the lots of threats which has been coming, there is a layers of security which has been given in our system. So like the attack of these surfaces are increasing, as I have mentioned earlier. So more elaborate, and it has been sprawling. So many security systems are tuned to react to many known issues, like with a barrage of purely reflexive alerts over there. So as a result, these individual prompts leave the human teams to praise out the potential decisions and take many actions out. Like sometimes we can also say that the teams have to decide to confront the largest concern like first, and then let the secondary objectives fall to the wayside. So using this AI with the cyber security, that is artificial intelligence with the cyber security efforts, can allow the IT teams to manage more of these threats in an effective and a partial or a practical fashion. like confronting each of these threats can be made much easier if it is batched by automated labeling. There should be a proper automated labeling. So beyond this, some concerns may actually be able to be treated by the machine learning algorithm itself. So the algorithm itself will be treating these threats very easily, solving the threats very easily. And then we have the threat response time. As I have told you, the threat response time is very, very important, right? So the hackers might give us some time, and we will have to do something before that time period. So that threat response time is absolutely among the most pivotal metrics for a cybersecurity team's efficacy, right? So from exploitation to deployment, malicious attacks have been known to as a very, very quick. Everything happens very quickly nowadays, like. And the threat actors of the past used to have a sift thorough network permissions and disarm the security laterally for sometimes weeks on the end before launching their attacks. They will do those things. So the threat response time is very, very essential, and that AI and the machine learning can solve that particular threat response time also, because AI is having, we have seen in the benefits that AI is having a very, very like it learns more over the time, and it acts very quick with the responses, right? It accelerates the detection and the response time very quickly, and that can be solved here. And then the next thing is new threat identification and prediction. So like it serves as an another factor, this new threat identification and prediction, it serves as an another factor that impacts the response time frames for the cyber attacks outside. So as noted previously, the lag time already occurs with existing threats nowadays. So the unknown attack types, behavior, the tools, and the tools can further deceive like a team into a slow reaction. So worse, quieter threats like data theft can sometimes go completely undiscovered also. So this is another part. And then we have staffing capacity. So this falls under the scope of ongoing issues, many IT and the cybersecurity teams globally. So depending on the needs of an organization, the number of qualified personnel can be very limited. Okay. And however, more common situation is that hiring a human help can also cost the organizations a healthy amount of their budget, right? And this AI based security tools can take a lead with a less dense team to staff and support it. Well, this kind of staffs will need to keep up the cutting edge areas of the AI and the machine learning, so that the cost, the time saving will come alongside, and the smaller staffing requirement is enough for us. And then comes the adaptability, the last part. Adaptability, it is not an obvious of a concern as a point mentioned, but can shift the abilities of an organization's security very dramatically. So the human teams may be lacking in their capacity to customize their skill set to your personalized or specialized requirements over there. So these are all the things which the AI and the machine learning can do for the cyber security in all these areas or in all these section. So now we are just going to see how AI, like how this AI is used in the cyber security. Okay, first we are going to see that's how AI is used in the cyber security part. Okay, so the human error configuration, everything. So even the AI. So if you see how machine learning and artificial intelligence can do for the cyber security, and how AI used for the cyber security, it all comes under the points. Whatever is being mentioned, it all comes under the same sector, wherein a few things might have a small changes, like artificial intelligence in cyber security separately. Only when I speak about artificial AI. Okay, next we will also see how machine learning is used in cybersecurity. So before that, the same points goes for AI used in the cybersecurity, but this artificial intelligence in cybersecurity is considered to be the superset of disciplines like machine learning and deep learning cybersecurity. So as I told you, there are many technologies in AI. So based on the technology, for example, if machine learning is doing like many algorithms which are there, which is going to help the cybersecurity team over there, and the deep learning is there. So we also call that disciplines as machine learning and deep learning cybersecurity separately. So but it does not have its own role to play because everything is interrelated. So AI at its core is concerned or concentrated mainly on the success with the accuracy, like it is carrying a less weight, natural responses in elaborate problem solving, and an ultimate goal over there. So in a true execution of the AI, the actual independent decisions are being made. So its programming is designed for finding a ideal solution in a situation rather than just a kind of a hard logical conclusion of a data set. So everything depends upon the data set over there, right? So when I want to further explain this, it's best to understand how the modern artificial intelligence and its underlying disciplines work currently. So when the autonomous systems are not within the scope of widely mobilized system, what happens is, especially in the field of cybersecurity, the self-discreted systems are what many people commonly associate with other artificial intelligence. So the ideal role for the AI in the cybersecurity is the interpretation of the patterns established by the machine learning algorithms. What will the AI do in the cyber security is it will identify how the cyber attacks, the patterns are happening established by the machine learning algorithm. So it is not possible for a modern day AI to interpret the results within the abilities of the human, right? So work is being done to help develop in this field in the more pursuit of the human like frameworks, but the true AI is a distant goal that requires machines to take the abstract concept across the situations and to reframe them. So in other words, I can say this level of creativity and the critical thought is not as close as the AI rumors would like you have believed what AI can do. Okay, so this is what the artificial intelligence in cybersecurity is, and how machine learning is used in cybersecurity. Machine learning separately, there are few things in machine learning security, that is solutions are different from what people envision to be in the artificial intelligence family. So everything is not completely similar here. That is what I can say. I cannot say everything is not completely different, but I can say everything is not completely similar. So that said, like they are easily the strongest cybersecurity AI tools we have to date, that is machine learning. Okay, machine learning security. So in the scope of this technology, the data patterns are used to reveal the likelihood that an event will occur or not. Will this particular threat will occur or not? That, for example, there is a classification. Okay, the machine learning is going to identify by seeing this particular data and everything whether any kind of a threat is going to occur or not. That is what the machine learning is going to give us. So machine learning is somewhat opposite to that of the true artificial intelligence in some respect. Okay, machine learning is particularly accuracy driven. So whenever we create an algorithm in the machine learning, there is one particular part, that is there is an accuracy score for that model. Okay, it is completely the accuracy driven but not as focused on the success. But AI, as I told you earlier, AI is focused on accuracy and success together. So what it means that I'm saying that particularly machine learning is focused on accuracy but not on the success, what it means is that the machine learning, it proceeds intending to learn from the task forced data sets only. Okay, but when I was speaking about AI, it is not completely relying on the data set. So it concludes by finding the most optimal performance of the given task, and it will pursue the only possible solution based on the given data. So even if it is not an ideal one, with the machine learning, what I can do is there is no true interpretation of the data, like, which means this responsibility still falls on the human task forces. So the machine learning excels at a very tedious tasks like the data pattern, identification, adaptation. So these are all the things which is there. Humans are not well suited for these types of tasks. So due to the fatigue. It's like we get tired by doing such kind of repetitive tasks more, and a generally low tolerance for the monotony. It is a monotonous work, right? So the same thing should be repeated again and again. So while the interpretation of the data analysis is still in the human hands, the machine learning can assist in framing the data in a readable form, in a dissection ready presentation. So machine learning cybersecurity comes in a very few different forms, like each of its own unique benefits. The first one is data classification. Okay, data classification, that is data classifying. So what is data classification? Data classifying is nothing but it works on using the preset rules so that it can assign the categories to the data points. Okay, it is going to assign the categories to the data points. It is going to label these points as an important part of building and profile on the attacks which is going to happen, and vulnerabilities and other aspects of the proactive security. So this is a fundamental to the intersection of the machine learning and the cybersecurity team over there. And then we have data clustering. What is data clustering? It takes the outliers of the classifying preset rules. Okay, outliers in the sense unnecessary things. Okay, the one which is not relevant for me. So the outliers of the classifying preset rules, placing them into the clustered collection of the data with the shade triads or the odd features. So for example, this can be used when analyzing the attack data that a system is not already trained for. When I am telling about machine learning is like we am training the data first and then I'm going to predict, right? So here I'm not using the data that is the data I'm using the data which is not trained already. So these clusters can help determine how an attack has happened, as well as was exploited and exposed. What was exploited and what was exposed, I can find out with the help of data clustering over there. And then I also have recommended course of actions. So what are these recommended course of action? It elevates the proactive measures of the ML security system, that is a machine learning security system. So these are the advisories based around the behavior patterns and the former decisions. So it is providing a natural suggested course of actions. It is very important for us many times to understand or to restate here that this is not intelligent decision making via true autonomous AI. That you should always understand here, because rather it is a very adaptive conclusion framework that can reach through the pre-existing data points so that I can conclude the logical relationship which is happening. So the response threats and mitigating the risk can be very assisted immensely by this type of tool, that is recommended course of action. Possibility synthesis. Possibility synthesis allows for a synthesizing of a brand new possibility. Okay, brand new possibility based on the lessons from the previous data and new unfamiliar data sets which has been out there. So this is a bit different from the recommendation, as it is concentrating more on the chances that an action or a state of the system falls in the line. So with the similar past situations. So for example, the synthesis can be used for probing of a weak points in an organization system. We are just targeting the weak points in the organization system, and then we are trying to work on that. And then I have the last part, that is how machine learning is used in the cybersecurity. That is nothing but predictive forecasting. Predictive forecasting. So predictive forecasting is something predictive forecasting is something like I'm predicting, forecasting. So it is the most forward thinking of the machine learning component process. Machine learning itself is a kind of I'm predicting, right? I'm training my past data, and then I am predicting what can happen in the future. That is machine learning. So this benefit is achieved by predicting potential outcomes by evaluating the existing data sets which is out there. So this can be used primarily for building the threat models, outlining fraud prevention, data breach which is happening there, and data breach protections. And it is also a staple of many predictive endpoint solutions outside. So these are the few Like these are the few things, few points which a machine learning, how a machine learning is used in the cyber security: by data classification, clustering, recommended course of action, possibility synthesis, and predictive forecasting. A very, very important points to be noted when it comes to the cyber security and the machine learning especially. And then I have few examples of machine learning in the cyber security. So examples of machine learning in cyber security. So I have the user behavior security profiles. Okay, so user behavior security profiles are there, and then system performance security profiles are there, and I also have behavior based bot blocking. I also have data privacy classification and compliance. So what is this user behavior security profiles? Let's start from user behavior security profiles. So by forming custom profiles, okay, it is just by forming a custom profiles on the network staff based on user behaviors. Based on the user behaviors, the security could be tailor-made to fit your organization. Okay, so this model can then establish what an unauthorized user might look like. So it's like tailor-made. I have designed the security profiles for each and every one, and if an unauthorized user is going to come, then he that I can easily identify there. So this model, when I am trying to create, that is a user behavior security profiles, when I am trying to create this model, can establish what an unauthorized user might look like based on the outliers of the user behavior. So I have a proper profile pattern for my users in the organization. But if an unauthorized person is coming, his pattern will be different, right? So the subtle traits like the keyboard strokes can form a predictive threat model. So the machine can easily identify, okay, this is an unauthorized person. That might be a kind of a threat for us. So with the outline of the possible outcomes of the potential unauthorized user behaviors, what can happen is the machine learning security can suggest recommended resources to reduce the exposed attack surfaces outside there. That is called as user behavior security profiles. And another example is behavior based bot blocking. So what is this behavior based bot blocking? So bot activity can be an inbound bandwidth drain for the websites, right? So this is especially true for those that depend on the internet based business traffic outside. So such as those with dedicated e-commerce or storefronts and no brick and mortar location. So the authentic users may have a kind of a sluggish experience that uses a loss of traffic and the business opportunities. So by classifying this activity, machine learning tools can block the bots web regardless of the tools like the virtual private networks that can use them, and behavioral data points on the malicious parties are there that can help a machine learning security tool from predictive models around the behavior and primitively block the new web address for displaying this same activity which is there outside. So this is another example which is there. And I also have another activity with another example. So data privacy classification and compliance. What is this data privacy? So protecting your organization from violation of privacy laws has likely risen to be a top priority over the past few years, right? It is like privacy is very important for everyone. So with the general data protection regulation, that is called as GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, leading the way, other legal measures have appeared, such as like California Consumer Protection Act, which is there, which is called a CCPA Act is there. So managing the collected data of your customers and users must be done under these acts only. So what the rules, government has given the rules is nothing but they have formed certain acts, and we will have to collect the data using that using those acts only, and which usually means this data must be accessible for deletion upon the request. So if the people, if the government is, if or the security is trying to ask you this data is not good, you have to delete it, then we will have to delete it. So the consequences of not following these legislations include hefty fines for us. If they are asking us to delete this data and we are not deleting the data, we will be fined very badly, as well as damage to your organization's reputation also will be there. So when it comes to the data privacy classification and compliance, there is these acts which is called as CCPA and GDPR Act, which is also. So the data classifying can help you separate identify user data from which like anonymized or identify the free and analyze the free. So this saves from the manual labor in attempts to trace out the vast collection of the old and the new data, especially in the larger organization or the very, very older organization outside there. Okay, so this is about the data privacy classification and compliance. And then I have this called as system performance security profiles. System performance security profile. This is another example over here. So similar to the user behavior profile concept. So we have seen this user behavior profile, security profile concepts, right? So a custom diagnostic profile of your entire computer's performance can be compiled when healthy. Monitoring the processors and memory uses the alongside traits like high internet data use can be indicative of the malicious activity. Okay, the system performance, according to your system performance. So each organization, they are giving you a certain system. According to the performance of your system, they can identify whether the person, lot of internet is being used, then they are trying to say it can be an indicative of a malicious activity. So that said, some users may regularly use high volume of data through the video conferencing or frequent large media file downloads. So by learning what systems baseline performance generally looks like, it can establish what it should not look like, similar to the user behavior rules we mentioned in the machine learning example. That is what we have seen earlier. Okay, so this is all about a few examples of the machine learning in the cyber security. And these are the few applications. I'm not going to explain these applications of the machine learning, that is of artificial intelligence in the cyber security, but I have listed it down. So what are those? It can do the breach risk prediction. Okay, it can do the phishing voice detection, phishing detection, and malware detection and prevention, user authentication, spam filtering, password protection can be done, bot identification, behavioral analysis. Behavioral analysis is very, very important because the cyber criminal will have certain behavior during his attacks. So behavioral analysis is one of the very important thing which is helping most of the cyber security to face those cyber criminals. Why? Because cyber criminals also will have the knowledge of the AI technology. Okay, and how we are securing the company organization by using the cyber security with artificial intelligence, the cyber criminals is also attacking or hacking us with the help of the same AI technology only. So we are facing each other with the same technology. So the behavioral analysis is very, very important for us. And then the network segmentation and security, fraud detection is there, threat intelligence, incident response, vulnerability management, identity and access management. So all these comes under the applications of AI in the cyber security. Now coming to the last section of our orientation, that is the future of cybersecurity. So we have seen few, what does the machine learning is doing, what are the applications, what is AI doing with the cybersecurity, and now we have seen with what is the future of cybersecurity. So along with the future, I will have to first talk about what are the downside of AI in the cybersecurity first. Okay, what is the downside of AI before I go to the future? So AI has a potential to greatly improve the cybersecurity. As of whatever discussion I have done, maybe you might have understood AI is helping greatly to improve the cybersecurity, but it also has a few downsides. Like the organization need more resources and financial investment to build and maintain the AI systems. Okay, it is financially very, very costly, and acquiring the diverse set of data for training these systems can be very time consuming also. So first thing is it is very costly. Second thing is it is very, very time consuming to train those data, and without a sufficient data, AI can produce incorrect results, right? And data should also be very huge with less data. So there is some concept called as overfitting of the data, underfitting of the data. So underfitting of the data should not happen, then the training will not be proper. So what will happen? It can produce incorrect results, it can produce false positives. So additionally, the cyber criminals can use the AI to launch more advanced attacks later, right? Because I have told you now, so I have informed you that the AI, the cyber criminals will also have the knowledge of the AI. So these are the few downsides of the cyber security. So these things you should know when it comes to the cybersecurity. Now, the future of the cybersecurity. So when it comes to the future of the cybersecurity, it's like despite all the glowing dialogues around the future of this form of security, there is still limitations to be noted, which is what I have told you. So machine learning needs data set, but may conflict with the data privacy laws. That is another point to be noted. Training the software systems requires plenty of data points to build an accurate model. As I have told you, that also comes under the downside, right? Which doesn't meld with the right to be forgotten. And the human identifiers of some data may cause violations. So potential solutions will need to be considered for us, right? And possible fixes include getting the systems to either make the original data virtually impossible for us to access once the software has been trained. This is another problem. So the data points is also in consideration, but this will need to be examined further to avoid the skewing in the program logic when the cyber security is being launched over there. So the industry needs more AI and the machine learning cyber security experts capable of working with the programming in the scope. And machine learning network security would benefit greatly from the staff that can maintain and adjust as it is needed. And however, the global pool of qualified and trained individuals is smaller than the immense global demand for the staff that can provide these solutions. And human teams will still be essential, even though the machines do all the tasks, AI does all the tasks, humans will still be essential. Finally, we can say that critical thinking and creativity are going to be a very vital to decision making at the end. So as mentioned, like machine learning is not prepared or capable of doing either, and neither is AI completely, right? So to continue this thread, you will have to use the solutions to augment your existing teams over there. And we can also give few tips for embracing the future of the cybersecurity. What tips you can try to give? So on the road of the artificial intelligence security, there are few steps you can take to get yourself closer to the future. So in case if you want to work in the cybersecurity, these few things even the organization should think about. So what are this? So first one is invest in staying future focused with your technology investment, right? That is nothing but the cost of being exploited due to the outdated technology or using or redundant manual labor will be very far greater threats, which is going to become more elaborate for you all. So staying ahead of a curve can help mitigate some risk by using a forward thinking solutions, and then you will be more prepared to adapt to the situation outside there. And then the next tip is that supplement your teams with AI and the machine learning, do not replace them. So the next is vulnerabilities. It's very important, right? Will still exist. So as no system on the market today is foolproof, since even these adaptive systems can be deceived by clever attack methods, be sure that your IT team learns to work with the proper support and the proper infrastructure, and you're not going to replace them, and make sure they are not going to leave that organization. And then I have the next last part, that is routinely adapt your data policies to comply with evolving legislation. So that is nothing but data privacy has become a focal point of governing bodies across the globe. So as such, it will remain among the top points of concerns for most of the enterprises and organizations. So that be sure that you are keeping per the most recent policies, following the legislations outside there, because whenever you're collecting the data into your organization, you'll have to follow that proper data collection method according to the certain acts which the government has given for the organization. So we will have to follow that particular. That is the reason they have to routinely update your data policies and comply with the evolving legislations, whatever has been updated. Okay, so this is these are the few things which we can say that the future of cyber security. So this is all about our orientation session. I hope the session was very informative. Until we meet with another good session and a good topic ahead. If